Let's go through setting up a virtual private server, or rather a VPS, through DigitalOcean. So first up, go ahead and log into your account and click on the Create button, or you can also hit the Create Droplet. DigitalOcean likes to call their VPSs droplets. The host name is essentially the name of your server. You've got the option to call it whatever you want, but I recommend if you're going to be creating things that will last a while, to use some sort of naming structure, naming scheme that will help you understand the internals of that server as you configure it. I, for instance, have a server called Apex Live, which houses all of the production level elements of one of my services. Next up is selecting the size and configuration of your server. What this section really equates to is more money equals more server power. Some services that you can put together utilize a lot of bandwidth or utilize a lot of computer memory. For instance, if you were putting together a game server, such as a Minecraft server, you would want something with a good bit of memory to handle all the users interacting actively in the game environment. However, we're just putting together a simple web server, and web servers naturally don't take up too much of a footprint on the server until you start dealing with a lot of traffic. So for the purposes of this class, we're just going to select the $5 a month server, or rather the 0.007 cents an hour server. And the server's not going to run throughout the entirety of the month. It's going to run just for about half of it. And you can blow it up and turn it off, turn it on as many times as you want, and it will still only deduct 7 cents an hour from your account. When selecting a region, you ideally want to select a node nearest your physical location, or nearest your main developer physical location. This will allow a faster throughput, or less hops around the internet to put your content in place. American hosting services are trying to additionally provide out of the US options for countries who want to do business with them but not be restricted. For our purposes, we're not going to be configuring beyond default the available settings. Private networking IP6, enabling backups, and user data are beyond the scope of what we really want to be working on. For selecting an image, we have options of Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, CoreOS, and CentOS. These are essentially different kernels of Linux. And now, without getting into too many technical aspects of this, it essentially boils down to different package management services that exist between these different distributions that differentiate one from another. For the purposes of this class, we're going to focus on Ubuntu 12.04.5 by 64 bits. Adding an SSH key is optional, and we're not going to go through that step because we're going to be creating those directly on the server manually as needed. So while that droplet is being created, go ahead and open up Terminal and get access to your mail client, as DigitalOcean will be providing you with the root password to get into your droplet. So we use Terminal to access the internals of our server. And to do that, we're going to tunnel into your server using SSH. SSH is really neat because once you're tunneled into a computer or tunneled into another server, you essentially have full control over it. Much like you do just having terminal open on your own machine. You're essentially opening terminal on their machine or on their server, or, well, rather, hopefully your own server. The format to make this happen is you start off with the SSH command followed by the user you want to log in as, the @ symbol, and then the .com or the IP address of the server that you're trying to log into. If this is the first time you're logging into the server, you'll need to interact with the RSA fingerprint key. This is essentially your computer's way of making sure that you mean to access the correct server. These fingerprints essentially protect you from man-in-the-middle attacks. So upon logging in with the password provided to you by DigitalOcean, you're presented with a little bit of diagnostics about the machine that you're working on. And the way that DigitalOcean is configured, as soon as the root user logs in for the very first time, it forces you to change the password. So simply enter your current password, provide a new password, and retype that new password. And you are set up. You have created your server and is ready for further configuration.